Hi, everyone, and welcome to the September Product Club. I'm Lou, the Pathfinder Community Manager. Today we have Nishikanth, Director of Product Management, here with us to take us on an exploration of Agentic Orchestration with NextGen Process Composer. As you are joining, pop in the chat box where you're joining from, and if you'd like to connect with others in this call, go ahead and paste your LinkedIn profile there as well. We all love a good connection opportunity. I'm joining from Port Angeles, Washington, and fall is in the air, so I am very excited. I may or may not have had my first pumpkin spice latte last week, so fall vibes are knocking on the door, and I am one of those that get real pumped about it. For those of you joining who are new to Product Club, I'd like to share a little bit about what it is. So, we host Product Club every month, and it's your chance to connect with our product leaders and stay updated on the latest innovations in intelligent automation. So, that's what we'll be doing today with NextGen Process Composer. At the end of this session, we will have Q&A. So, drop your questions in that Q&A chat as they come to you, and we will get them answered. Before diving into how the new Process Composer introduces a modern experience that simplifies process orchestration, I want to take a quick moment to highlight some of the exciting events going on in the Pathfinder universe. On September 12th, we have an in-person Pathfinder meetup. So if you're near Hyderabad, you should definitely register for this and check it out. It's going to be full of fun information gathering and networking, so you won't want to miss it. September 17th, we have an APA strategy user group where you'll hear real-world stories about lessons learned and ways to accelerate your progress towards APA implementation. The 19th is an in-person meetup in Pune, and September 25th is a developer meetup on conversational automation. I am going to go ahead and paste the links of those events in the chat, and then that way you can snag them now, throw them on a note sheet, and register when we get off the call. So if any of those looked interesting to you, please click on that link and register. As a reminder, this session is recorded. I will share the recap via the community, and throughout the session, we'll launch some poll questions. So please throw your answer on those because they really do support us in knowing what our customers need and want to see on our product roadmaps. So now let's go ahead and meet Nishikanth. Nishi, thank you so much for joining today. I am so excited to check out the improved usability here. But before we do, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and let us know your role here at Automation Anywhere and what got you interested in working in this field in the first place.
Excellent. Hey, thank you, Lou. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone around the globe. All excited to be here for the September Product Club, and I'm just excited to start walking everyone through the new agentic orchestration through NextGen Process Composer. And Lou, to your question, yes. So I've been working here at Automation Anywhere for almost close to 4 years, I would say. And I've been in this field, at least the automation field, for a few years, more than 4 to 5 years. And in total, I have experience of 19 plus years. So all good to be on the IT side and helping customers and users actually solve their problems. All right, I saw you had a busy calendar of events, right? So I'm sure people joining from India would be more than interested to either fly to Hyderabad or Pune and join the dev meetups. In fact, we just had a couple of weeks back in Mumbai. I'm sure there are people waiting to join those events.
Yes, we are so excited about that. I know the team has put a lot of work into planning that event, so it should be a lot of fun. Okay, I have one more question for you, and it's an important one. What is your favorite game?
All right. I love this sports called cricket. For those of you from Asian or the other countries may know, but for those of you who do not know, it's very similar to baseball. So It's a game where there are two sides with 11 players each, and they have a bat on a ball to play. Interesting game. Definitely you'll love once you start watching it or even start playing it.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. Well, with that, I'm gonna kick it over to you. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and
Yep.
let's dive into the reason everyone's here today.
All right, let's get started. I'll start sharing my screen. All right. Uh, Once again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. For those of you joined just a few seconds back, it's a great pleasure to be here with all of you today for the September's Product Club, and all excited to present the NextGen Process Composer and also show how it'll help you in your journey towards agentic process automation. Now, this is what the agenda looks like. We'll quickly look at what exactly is agentic process automation, then overview of a next-gen process composer. And not just that, we'll have a live demo of exactly how this new process composer or the orchestration tool works, how easy it is for us to build process automations. We'll also look at a roadmap, and then towards the end, if there are any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer them. And before I get into the details, a quick safe harbor, a reminder that if you're making any decisions, please do so based on what's available today, because some of the slides will have forward-looking statements or a roadmap. And with that, let me start by grounding us in where we stand today. And not just by what we believe, but by how the analysts and industry sees us. And more than happy to say that we have been consistently recognized as leader across multiple analyst reports, and the most recently in Gartner's May 2025 emerging magic quadrant for generative AI applications, where we are positioned at the top right. And this is a strong validation of our customer success, real world impact, and the leadership in automation and AI. And a major driver for this success is our focus on the agentic process automation, or in short, we call it as APA. And this has been actually enabling our customers to automate their most mission critical operations by orchestrating across your RPA bots, APIs, AI agents, and more importantly, also people. APA, it blends the deterministic automation with cognitive intelligence, and all this by enabling systems to handle both rule based tasks and the context driven decisions, which means agentic process automation can automate not just what is predictable, but also what requires reasoning. And that's exactly where automation anywhere excels. And with this, we believe you can drive up to 10 times the business impact and also expand your automation footprint by covering up to 80% of processes in your organization. And as you see on the screen at the bottommost layer is our the core automation system, which provides you all the necessary framework to build RPA boards, have APIs, also the necessary cloud services for you to host the control room on it. And also, the most important thing is having the necessary security and governance as well as monitoring capabilities. On top of this sits the agentic system, which lets you leverage generative AI in various facets. For example, you can have Gen AI based document automation, also use self healing agents through generative recorder, or you can also create your own AI agents using AI Agent Studio. Now, this clubbed with the process reasoning engine and the agentic orchestration layer lets us build agentic solutions for different industry specific verticals or even department specific within your organization. And the best part, we also take the human agent collaboration to the next level, particularly with the conversational automation. And we now support BPMN type of modeling of long running processes, including features like swim lanes. And not just that, you can also import your BPMN models from other vendors and automatically create the end to end workflows. This is built on an event driven architecture, which means we support features like web triggers, parallel processing of workflow branches, as well as the ability to orchestrate multi agent workflows, including agents built on other platforms, and all of this with the right governance and observability, all controls in the place. And all these capabilities will allow you to automate your most mission critical and the long running processes. And to bring that to life, we have completely reimagined the way processes are designed and managed. And for that, we are introducing the new NextGen Process Composer. And this is going to address three key areas. First, it's going to enable our customers to automate the complex business processes which require support for parallel branches, event-based continuation of flows, or loops, or even better exceptional handling. And with more and more customers moving towards automating their end-to-end processes, we can be sure of seeing complex processes of all sizes, small to big, simple to complex, right? And the next-gen process composer comprises of new features and also major enhancements to the user experience, getting deep into how the process is modeled as well as navigating between different automations seamlessly. I'm sure most of you would agree that until 37, the experience of building different automations was quite disjoint as well as cumbersome because you had to always switch between different screens or different tabs, and then you had to jump between one automation to the other automation, losing the complete context. However, this is changing for good with the next-gen process composer starting version 37. And with the inclusion of swim lanes, parallel execution, events, etc., which are part of BPM notations, the business and the IT personas can work collaboratively in building end-to-end process automations. And the most important, we do understand that the real value of well-built process automations can be realized by you only if you can measure. And with the new design, we are ensuring that we can capture both the business ROI and operational insights and be able to monitor the processes in real time. A lot of these capabilities are coming in multiple releases, and you'll see each of them coming in different versions as we go along. Now, let me walk you through the different capabilities that we have introduced as part of NextGen Process Composer and how this is going to make your life better. Well, we have completely reimagined the way you would model. So we have a brand new canvas with additional functionalities for you to organize your flows into different lanes, either based on different, let's say, roles that take part in your process, or it could be also the different departments that are usually part of a business process. It could be different ways, but you can organize your flow into different lanes and also be able to maintain that on a long run quite easily. And not just that, you can also build your process automations quite iteratively. Now, what it means is you don't have to have all your necessary information available upfront for you to start building automations. You can keep building iteratively. You can keep your different tasks or nodes completely disjoint from the main flow and just keep building on it. It will still allow you to save and also run the processes, and all the other disjoint or let's say unlinked nodes can always be connected later and be able to build it iteratively. And whenever we talk about complex and large process flows, we do understand that you need to have a very good set of capabilities for you to be able to navigate across the different sections of the flow. And for that, we have various capabilities like easily be able to pan and zoom, or have a mini map to quickly look at the different sections of the flow with just simple clicks. And now we do understand whenever you are working on process automations, particularly if they're quite complex, you need to have better validation right within the editor. And that's something that you will see. So there is much better error handling and validation mechanism within the editor so that you get to see all the issues upfront, you can fix them, and then push it onto the UAT or production. Now, we understand apart from Canvas, it also needs to have a better interface on how you access the different elements on the editor. So for that, we have completely revamped the left panel, the toolbars. There are additional tools as part of toolbar, as well as the property panel has been revamped with necessary help text wherever it can actually help you. And with all of these in place, this is going to help you build your process automations, which actually is going to use the space much more intelligently. In fact, I would say the number of nodes that you could typically have in your processor would come down significantly. And not just that, whenever we talk about processes, there are going to be different steps, and each step will have different type of data that it is going to handle. And as part of that, it's important that you are able to map the information from one step to the other step quite easily. And that's exactly where the new expression builder is going to be very helpful because it's a wizard based interface that lets you pick the value from different steps of a flow and then be able to map to the input variables. And whenever we talk about a process, it means it's going to have different types of automations. It could be RPA tasks, it could be APIs, it could be forms or even approval steps, or even AI agents and document validations. Now, if you're working on these different automation assets, you definitely need to have a seamless way to navigate across these different assets. And that is where the breadcrumbs come into play, where you can just move around the different automations without having to switch the context. And what we'll do is now look at all these capabilities live in a system. And for that, I'm going to quickly switch on to the live system.
Nishi, as you're switching over, I'm going to launch a poll to see where everyone is, especially since we're talking about process automation. So, does your organization currently have any process automations implemented or in progress? I'm going to leave this up for about 30 seconds. Let us know. Yes, widely deployed. Yes, in limited areas. Not yet, but planning, or no, not at this time. About 10 more seconds.
And for those of you who are still in the planning stage, definitely I think this is the right time for you to jump onto this bandwagon, because with process automations is how you will get into the agentic process automation world, because that is what will help you orchestrate the complex business processes, bring AI agents wherever necessary, and also make dynamic decisioning. All right.
Okay, so we are 39% in limited areas, followed by yes, widely deployed, then not yet, but planning, and then 11% not at this time.
All right. Good to see that a lot of folks are actually either planning or they at least have it in limited areas. All right, so let's jump on to the live system. So I hope you can see my screen. So here, what I'm sharing is the new process composer. So you can call it as NextGen Process Composer, or in simple words, Process Composer 2.2. Now, this is exactly how a complex process, which in this case is a warehouse reception flow, looks like, which is neatly organized into different swim lanes. So we have swim lanes based on the different steps or the logical steps that the flow is going through. For example, we start the flow from document validation, then it goes into the PO approval, delivery, and then the supplier intimation. Now, if you're wondering, okay, all this looks good. Now, is this different from the earlier one? Yes, and let me just give you a comparison. Now, this was the legacy editor, as you see here, quite a basic canvas, and managing the flow was always very rigid. For example, you can only build top to bottom. You can't really move around the nodes. You can't really change the positions. It only allowed you to add nodes, and it would just grow from top to bottom. Quite cumbersome. And also, even if you had to, let's say, make changes, it was not quite easy. Whereas with the new process composer, your experience completely changes for good. And let me show you how. Now, this is an existing process. You can keep adding your tasks. It could be APIs, RPA bots, and we are also introducing soon, apart from document validation, called document extraction. So this is a new type of task that you'll be able to now add onto your flows. And the best part is this allows you to either extract the document on cloud or on your bot runners. Apart from that, you can have sub-processes wherever a process has to be broken down into multiple sub-processes. And human in the loop comes into play as form of document validation, approval steps, or even having a form to take the inputs. Now, you can add the nodes onto the canvas in different ways, right? The most simplest and the most common way is dragging and dropping on your canvas, or you can also just double click by clicking on a node, add a specific one. But there are also other easier ways for you to do this. For example, the easiest way without having to go to the left panel is typically just being on the canvas where exactly where you are, right? And just click on this new plus option called Quick Add. So you can click on this, you'll see all the tasks or conditions that you can add based on where exactly you're trying to add. Or you can also, for example, let's say you can go to if condition and try to add the new actions. And it is contextual. What it means is based on where exactly you're adding, the set of actions or basically elements that it shows changes. For example, here I'm trying to add after the if. node, so it shows only the else if, whereas in any other nodes, it will also show other tasks and events. Now, there is also other way that you can add apart from what we have just seen. For example, let's say if you're aware of what exactly an automation asset that you want to add, then you can always click on that particular step and search for that. For example, I can search for a specific automation, or I can also pick from one that is listed here. So let's say I just click one of them, it directly adds onto the screen. So there are multiple ways that you can add the nodes into your canvas and be able to easily build your automations. And the other important one, which is a big plus point compared to the legacy editor, is you can move around your nodes freely. You don't have to worry about remapping the arrow marks or the edges, because those automatically get adjusted based on where exactly you're moving your nodes. So it's a quite free form way of adjusting your flow. And in fact, you can mimic your process diagrams given either by your business teams or business analysts and be able to build exactly the same way. And not just that, as I said, swim lanes make a big difference. And just to give you a quick idea of how exactly a complex flow would look like without swim lanes, let me just remove all of them and show you. Well, this is what the warehouse reception flow looks like, right? Definitely it is in an order, but then it doesn't give you an idea of what are the different types of steps that you're going through, or logical steps, or even different roles that actually take part in this flow. Whereas the moment you add swim lanes, it allows you to organize very logically, and also it's easy on maintenance side. Apart from that, you can also see that whenever you move your nodes, there are enough vertical and horizontal lines that's going to help you placing in line with the other nodes. For example, it'll give you a comparison with the other nodes that are besides it, very similar to how you can move the nodes in a PowerPoint slide. And whenever we have a large process or even a medium process like what you see on the screen, you definitely need an easy way to be able to move around the different parts of the flow. For example, you can use a mouse scroller to move up and down, or you can use control key and use your scroll to zoom in and zoom out. Apart from that, you can also use the tools available at the bottom left. For example, Minimap gives you a easy view of the entire flow and also be able to move to different sections quite easily, right? So if the flow contains, let's say, 100 plus of nodes, uh, instead of using your mouse scroller, you can just use the Minimap and go to the specific section easily. Apart from that, if you want to look at your entire process in a single pane, you can click on this fit view, which gives you the entire process view in this fashion. And obviously, you can use a mouse scroll, or you can use these zoom in and zoom out options to go to the specific nodes here. Apart from that, depending on what your preference is, if you usually like using your mouse to pan, you can enable this pan, and you can move around by just dragging and dropping using the left click. Or you can even temporarily switch on the pan mode by just clicking on the space button and moving around the process. Now, as you see here, uh, it's easy to model your entire process flow, very similar to your process diagrams or BPM diagrams that your business teams would have, and also organize them neatly in the different swim lanes. Now, apart from this, there are also other tools that are going to make your life easy in terms of editing the processes. For example, let's say if you have already built a process automation, but then you get a change request to change either some steps that have been, or some properties that have been part of multiple nodes, or if there is a necessity for you to change the label of something, well, you can use the search option, which you have already seen and used in bot editor. So you get the same search option within the process composer as well. You can use a simple search, or also click on opening the advanced search, which will let you search for specific details. So it will give you all the results. Example, there are two matches within the line 6. You can click them, and also it will take you to that specific node. And not just that, it searches across the information that's shown on the canvas as well as on the property pane. Not just that, you can also control the filters. If you just want to search on the canvas, you can choose that, or you can search across the text values as well as variable names. Now, if you want to replace, or let's say change the labels in bulk, well, you can use search and replace. And here again, you have multiple options. You can either change the string, or you can change the variable names and expression. apart from that, obviously, like any other editor, you can cut, copy, paste through the toolbar that you see here, or you can also use the contextual menu on every node here. So you get options like cut, copy, paste. So whenever you copy, obviously you will get an additional option called paste, or you can also remove any of the nodes as necessary. Now, one important point that I had mentioned some time back is you can build processes iteratively. And what it means is, let's say I have got a requirement to add a bot step, but we are still not very clear, okay, where exactly this bot step has to come. So what I can do is I can just add this bot, add it to the canvas. It's not linked to anything, and you'll still be able to work on your processes. And not just then, you can also run the process. And when you run the processes with some of these unlinked nodes, what happens is basically it ignores this, whichever is disconnected, and the rest of the process runs as is. And whenever you have enough information for you to, let's say, bring this back into the flow, you can always manually connect them. For example, I can connect it this way, yeah, and then be able to build it iteratively. Now, this is easy way for you to keep building on the existing flows as in when you get the information from your business teams. All right, so let me show you that even the undo option or undo action that you see in the editor is quite powerful, because this actually undoes whatever you're doing on the canvas plus any changes that you may have done on the property panel as well. And you see the memory is quite large. It is helping you to undo more than 20 steps if you have carried out those many steps, right? All right. And for you to add swim lanes, there are two different ways you can add swim lanes. Let me just remove all the swim lanes and show it to you. So when you click on add swim lanes, you can either add horizontal swim lanes or vertical swim lanes. And the best part is you can name each swim lane as per the business logic or the different roles that are actually taking place as part of this process flow. Let me just do this and go back. All right. So apart from the enhancements that you see on the canvas, as well as on the left pane and toolbar, we also have a revamped the property panel. So for example, let's say if I go to this form step, you'll see that each and every property that you see here has necessary help text, which is easier for any user, be it inexperienced developer or a professional developer, to understand what exactly each property means. And you may also notice that a lot of properties have been rearranged so that it's logical for you to fill the information the way a typical developer would do. And not just that, I did mention that if you have to, let's say, map any variables or create complex expressions, it's quite easy now, right? So we can leverage expression builder. So in this case, let's say if I want to populate this data privacy tag based on information that's coming from other steps, I can just click on this option. Now, there are three ways I can create an expression. I can either select the variables that I have created in my flow, or I can use the global values that's available, or I can select the different elements that's already in the process. Now, element will allow you to select the different steps. Process request is basically the start step or the other steps of the process. So whenever I select any of these steps, it lets me choose whether I want to pick from the input values, the meta information, or based on what element I've selected, I can also select the output values. And not just that, you can further actually build on top of it. For example, I can select the specific input or output fields, which in this case could be, let's say, your driver's ID, right? And if necessary, I can also use methods to convert that to different data types. For example, I can convert that string to either a file, list, or a number as necessary. So it's a quite powerful tool, as you see here, and it will build a complex expression. Now, obviously, in this case, there is an error, and that is what I wanted to take you to the next. So whenever there are errors, you'll see the necessary information right here when you hover over this, or if you just ignore this, you'll still see the errors in the assistant. Right. So let me just go back to the assistant. So there are two errors. It'll exactly show you which element number has the error. You can click on them and it'll basically highlight those errors on its side. All right. So what we've seen so far is basically how we have completely revamped or have built a new canvas, which allows you to uh, add the nodes and be able to model your process quite in a free flow manner. and also build iteratively by being able to add unlinked or disconnected nodes. And not just that, you can also easily navigate across various sections of the process using the various tools at the bottom left, like minimap, fit view, and zoom in and zoom out. Now, while you do all of this, right, let's say once you have built the process, the next logical steps would be either to check in, or if you're going to update an existing process that was already in UAT production, you typically will have to check in, check out, or do any other changes. Now, for all those operations, historically, you always had to save the process, go back to the repo, then carry out the operations. Whereas with version 37, with this new process composer, you can carry out all those operations right within the editor. So you don't have to switch the screen at all. As you see here, since this file has already been checked out, I can either cancel the checkout, or if I've made the necessary changes, check in, or just revert all the edits. Now, based on which state or which stage the file is in, it'll give you those additional options. And all this right within the editor without having the necessity to switch the screens. Now, if I'm working on a process like this, I'm not just working on the process, right? I would also have necessity to make changes to the other automation assets. For example, I have a bot here. Maybe I need to make a change to this bot. Now, here again, if I had to change this bot, typically what we have to do is first find out what exactly the bot is, what is the path, close this, go to the repo and search for that particular bot and open. Or you duplicate your window, I mean, a browser tab, and search for that particular bot and start working. So what this means is you basically either keep switching your screen, lose the context, or you just open multiple tabs in your browser and keep working side by side. Well, that definitely is changing for good. For example, here, if I need to make changes to this bot, I can just come to this property panel, look for more information right with this info icon. I can find exactly where the folder path is. Is it a cloned file? Is it a new file? What is it compatible with? And any other information that's going to be relevant for me as a developer. But not just that, I can also click on that particular file name and it'll open that specific bot or API or even a sub-process within the same screen. So you don't have to really switch screens or even switch the tabs. And what's interesting is you will still be able to navigate the other files that you came from. For example, we were earlier working on supply chain, so it still shows on top. So basically what you see is a breadcrumb of the entire path that you took to get to a specific automation. And it'll keep growing to as many automations that you have navigated from one step to the other step, and it'll keep showing all the information. And not just that, you can just hover over it and still be able to see all the necessary information that's relevant for you as a developer. So I can click this and I will be able to go back to the process automation. All right. Now we have seen how we can easily build process automations and be able to build agentic processes. Right. Now, all along, if you need any help, you can always make use of the help center that's usually available within the editors. Or if you're still new to processes and you still want to just try out either using a template or any pre-built processes, well, you still have a way for that. For example, when you click on create, you'll see an option called from template. If you've already used it, good. If not, you can explore this option. So when you click on from template, apart from taskbot and ESKill templates, we also have process templates. And if you have not seen, there are already predefined templates that we ship. For example, all the ones that you see with the automation anywhere icon or logo are the ones that we ship. Now, these are predefined templates with the flow built in. And what you have to do is just select this, click on continue and get started. It has the entire flow. Or even before you start working, if you just want to take a look at what exactly this process template looks like, you can just click on the icon and it will load the entire process here. All right. And the good part is you can use these templates and get started with the development much faster. Obviously, you'll have to still make changes wherever necessary. The properties may need some changes based on what you're trying to do for your organization. But there is a ready-made template that you can kickstart your automation from. All right. Now that we have seen the demo, I hope you have got a fair bit of idea of how exactly the process composer or the process orchestration tool helps you build a complex process automations and be able to bring in the agentic process in your organization. Now, let me jump back to the slides.
Yep. And as you're doing that, I'm going to launch the next poll. We did have some questions come through, so we will definitely answer those in just a second. This one says, based on what you've seen so far, do you see Process Composer 2.0 adding value to your automation initiatives? Go ahead, answer honestly. I will not show these responses out. This is just for us to have because again, your feedback is really important to us and we want to make sure everything aligns. So this is for us to take to think through things like that. So I'm going to give everyone about 5 more seconds. All right, I'm gonna end the poll. Okay, back to you.
All right, let's move on. And what we'll see next is watching the roadmap. Now, what you have seen so far is just the first step towards building agentic process automations. Now, there are many more capabilities coming in future, and let's see what they look like. For example, in version 39 and 40, you're going to see capabilities for you to have trigger-based execution of processes. For example, you may want to trigger your processes or process automations based on any external events. That will be possible based on the triggers. We'll also bring in intermediate events, which will let you basically pause your processes and resume based on any events that either could be within your system or external systems, be it Salesforce, Workday, or even SAP. So you'll be able to have event-based execution of processes with triggers and intermediate events. And we'll continue to enhance the modeling capabilities. For example, you'll have contextual help for everything that you see on the canvas, as well as you'll be able to give annotation. So for every step, if you want to give annotation so that the other developers or let's say your process owners who are going to take a look at your process can just look at those annotations and make sense of what exactly we have done as part of the process automation. And not just that, we'll enhance so that you can just click on the tile or every node and be able to jump to the automation. So basically reducing few more clicks there and making it easy for you to jump between the different automations. You can also create automations right within the process. So let's say you're building a process automation and then you realize or you get a requirement to create a new bot, right? As part of that. Now you don't have to jump out of your process editor. You can just be on the screen and click on an option to create the bot right from that editor and get into the bot editor or API for that matter and be able to build it. And using the breadcrumbs, you can just easily navigate across the different automations. Apart from that, we will enhance the overall view of looking at the existing process executions. For example, you'll be able to look at the historical process executions and also see it in a fashion where you can see the entire process flow the way you have designed and see how it has flowed from one step to the other step. And not just that, at each step, you'll also be able to find out what are the details that were entered by the users or what were the variable values that was passed from one step to the other step. Now, this is going to be in multiple phases in 40 and 41. But apart from that, we'll also be bringing in capabilities for you to be able to export the processes either in a PDF, image, or BPMN format. Because whenever you build a process automation, definitely either for your auditing purposes or just to ensure you have the copy for you to share with your business teams, you will be able to export that in different formats. Now, when we build process automation, definitely we understand that you should be able to simulate and test as necessary with different data sets. So that's something that we will have in version 41. And not just that, if you do hit issues or any exceptions, ability to be able to debug right from within the process composer. And we'll continue to enhance further on the modeling side, as well as bring more exceptional handling capabilities in the process composer. And whenever you're building, let's say, multiple versions of the same process based on the changes, definitely you would want to compare on what has changed from one version to the other. Now, that's something that we will also make it available later next year. Now, this is quickly what we have on the roadmap, a high-level roadmap.
And
Now,
We want to hear from you. So I'm going to launch a poll as well to see where you're prioritizing things. So from this list, choose the top feature you believe should be prioritized in the Process Composer 2.0 roadmap. We have annotate nodes and other elements in the process, test and debug end-to-end process automation, or export process into an image, PDF, BPMN file.
Yeah, and this vote definitely will count. So based on what we see prioritize the most, definitely we can advance that in a prior release.
Okay, I'm going to end this one in 3, 2. I'm still getting responses. Okay, now. All right,
All
so
right.
the big winner here was test and debug end-to-end process automations, which is okay. Got it. Thank you guys so much. And then I have one more poll before I kick it back over to you.
Sure.
So, poll result is being shared. Oh, okay. Stop sharing. There we go. All right, just real quick before we start diving into more of the roadmap stuff and answering some of these questions that have been posted, would you like to find out more about Process Composer 2.0 and have someone reach out to you for more information? This would consist of someone reaching out, giving you more details on what has been discussed today, diving deeper into some of the developer focused stuff and having someone reach out to you to help you figure out how to integrate this into your automation program. So I'll give a few more seconds of this, and then we will pull your email and pass it to the people who would reach out, and they will be reaching out to you about it. Hey, I will end the poll here. All right, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Lou. So let's end with some of the important links that the users would be interested in. For example, if you want to learn more, we definitely have links that you see on the screen. If you just want to get a quick overview of what we have seen so far or a little more details around NextGen Process Composer, we have a detailed documentation on our docs portal. We also have a separate sections which will let you build process automations, right? I would say from scratch with a different with step-by-step notes in the documentation, as well as if you're interested to actually join the APA Leader Masterclass, we do have a training course and you can join that. All right. I think with that, we have covered what we had planned for this product club for the September. Now,
We can dive
Lou, I
into
think we can take away.
yeah, questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Bijesh says, currently we mainly use the process that is automatically created when a learning instance is created for document automation. In this scenario, the learning instance and the process share the same name. If I create a new process separately where document automation is needed, can I still use an existing learning instance in that process?
You can, yes, that's a fantastic question. So, although whenever you create a learning instance, it creates a process, you can definitely create your own process and also add your document validation or document extraction steps and map to the learning instance that has already been created. Yes, you do have that flexibility on top of what document automation already creates.
Okay, and then Miriam asks, can you add notes or comments on this more flexible mode?
Okay, that's exactly what the annotations was about. I hope you have rated annotations as the top choice as part of the roadmap.
Okay, and then when will the new Process Composer be available to use?
All right. So Process Composer 2.0 is already out as part of version 37. It is available for both on-prem as well as the cloud customers. Not just that, if you have already been accessing the community, you should be able to use it. Quite easy. You just have to go to your automation tab, click on create, and you'll see an option called process. It was always there if you hadn't tried. Just click on the create process and you'll be able to create process automations, or even easy, just use one of the templates that I had shown to get started and learn more about it.
And then how is exception handling managed in Process Composer?
All right. So today, the way you will have to handle exceptions is right within the specific automations. For example, if you have, let's say, APIs or RPA bots, you'll have to have those exceptions right within those automations. And in the process, you would have to have necessary steps or even the conditions like if else to manage any exceptions. Now, we do understand it will require maybe a core capability within the process composer itself for you to handle exceptions as part of the process and not necessarily automations. And that is something that we do have as part of the roadmap, if you have seen in this slide.
Okay, and then is Process Composer mainly used for creating APA processes, or can it be used for RPA processes?
Anything. You can start with simple processes without AI agents, or you can create processes with AI agents and multiple AI agents for that matter. Any process, basically any business process that you want to solve, or it could be even, let's say, stitching together your different automation assets. I'm sure today the way you may be doing it is, let's say, you although you have a series of automations to run, you may be calling one bot from the other bot and then call it basically in series. You don't have to do that. You can just create a process and stitch together all these different automation assets. Even if it is all only RPA bots, you can stitch them together and manage it through the process automation.
Okay, and then will this work on-prem or is it cloud only?
It will work on-prem. It's already available on-prem.
Okay. What combination of licenses and roles or permissions are required for being able to develop in the new Process Composer?
All right. Good question. Well, you don't need additional licenses. As I said, this is also available on Community Edition. So to start building your process automations, you just have to have a bot creator license or the permissions to create a bot or a process, and you'll be able to build processes. But an important point to notice, there could be new capabilities that we will ship in future. For example, let's say something that's quite advanced as part of process automations. For those, definitely you will have to have additional licenses. But for you to just start creating process automations with a simple flow, just having all the existing automation assets, you will be able to do it just with the bot creator or citizen developer license.
Okay, how would you use the agentic AI with automation part of agent creation within code merge with the process?
All right. So today you can use AI agents in two different ways. I hope you are already aware that we have capability to create AI skills, right? AI skills is where you define uh, the different prompts, what the role or the outcome that the particular AI skill has to do, select the necessary model connection, and the different inputs and outputs. Once you have an AI skill, you can use or convert that into an AI agent through API. So basically, you can use the AI skill within an API task and use that API within the process. So you will have AI agents. But to make it even easy for you, and not just that, also to be able to have goal-based agentic process automations, we will be having a new AI agent builder coming in version 38 and onwards, which will allow you to not just create AI agents and all the necessary tools as part of it, but you'll also be able to add AI agents as a separate task within the process. So this is coming soon. I would say this is something that you'll get in 38 and beyond.
Okay. For those of you asking for the APA Masterclass link, I'm throwing them in the chat. We have two trails, the developer trail and the automation leader trail, so I'm throwing both of those in there. There's someone said to piggyback off on the AADA question, is there anything on the roadmap to make it so we are given a choice which folder to save the components to when creating a learning instance instead of dumping it in a root folder that is impossible to meaningfully RBAC?
Mm, I think that's a long question. So let me see if I can access that right from within my window. Uh, so the question is on the document automation. Okay, is there anything on the roadmap to make it so we are given a choice? Which okay, understood. I think point noted. I don't see the name here, but definitely point noted. So we understand that yesterday it may be creating at a default location, and then you have to move all the files along with the process to the specific folder that you actually have created and have RBAC. Point noted. We'll definitely pass on to the teams and have that enhanced.
Okay. What will be the maximum limit of element in Canvas?
Well, we have seen processes with more than 1,000 nodes. Yes, that's true. We have seen processes with 1,000 nodes and it works fine. So at the moment, we have not seen any, I would say, bottleneck, even with 1,000 nodes. Even beyond that, it works fine.
Okay, and then what's the biggest difference between AI agent version 38 and AI skill?
All right, this is excellent question. So with the AI agent that's going to come in 38, it is going to be goal-oriented AI agent. What it means is you can define the goal, right? You can just define the goal and what role the AI agent has to play, and also select the necessary tools. So it's basically like an autonomous AI agent, right? So you create an AI agent, you give it a goal, the necessary inputs that it needs, and also select the different tools. And when I say tools, you can say, I'm just going to take an example. For example, claim insurance AI agent. Let's say if there is an AI agent for claim insurance, you can build an AI agent for it and also select the necessary tools. Now, that tools could include your existing RPA bots, APIs, or even forms for human in the loop. And not just that, you can have this claim insurance AI agent called other insurance agents for it to do specific tasks. For example, maybe it has to see or find out if there is any claim history that it has to look at to make a decision, or it can also try to detect fraud. You can have sub AI agents as part of AI agents. So this is going to be basically goal-oriented AI agent. And we'll definitely have sessions soon walking you through on what exactly this is, how this is much different than what you have seen as part of AI skills.
Okay, and then we had a couple of questions in the chat. I think one came through in
Mhm.
Q&A. How does this handle agentic orchestration?
All right. So as you see, sorry, as you saw on the process composer, you can actually orchestrate all the different automation elements. With version 37, you can bring the AI agents in form of API tasks. But with version 38, you'll see AI agent as a first class citizen. So when I say first class citizen, it simply means you will see AI agents also on the left panel that you can drag and drop and place in your processes. And with that, you basically get into the agentic process orchestration.
Okay, and then I think that's it because we answered the maximum limit. Would there be a template available to create an AI agent?
Yes, that's correct. So we will have templates for AI agents as well. In fact, we do understand that for any let's say organization or a developer, there has to be a template to get started. So yes, we will have pre-built I mean AI agent templates that will be shipped.
Okay, could you please share the security part of this AI and automation slide? Yes, I will get that out to everyone. I'm going to take parts of the deck, share that out. I'll share the links within the deck. I'll send an email to everyone along with the recap of this product club session. So you'll have all of that readily available. And then let's see, there's another question. What's the release date, tentative release date for .38?
It's going to be October for cloud.
Okay. October for cloud. Let's see. Are there any additional questions? We have gone through a lot. Nishi, thank you so much. You have been great. I'm really excited about how engaged everyone is and how
Yep.
interesting this is. What about on-prem for release date?
That typically is a few weeks before cloud, Sergio. So that's going to be later this month or early October. All
Awesome.
right. I love the fact that there were so many questions. This is exactly how we need an audience like. So thank you everyone for asking so many questions, and I hope this session was useful.
Yes, and I will send you, when I send you that recap email, if you have any additional questions, feel free to email me back. I will forward it over to Nishi and we will get it answered. I know sometimes it takes a second for the questions to come up. So feel free, think on this, read over the recap, and we're happy to answer any additional questions you have. Thank you. Everyone have a good rest of your week, and we will see you next month.
Thank you everyone. Thank you, Lou.